Hi everybody, it's Jen here with a new layout up today. This process video is from some pictures that were taken this summer. I am working on finishing up my 2015 album, and today I have some sometimes difficult photos to scrap in that they're 4x6s, but they're different orientations. So I printed these off on my selfie, so they're just a little bit shy of the true 4x6, but they turn out pretty good except for that little spot right in the middle of the vertical photo. It's just a sunspot from the lens of the iPhone that it was taken from. So you know what, there's not I'm not going to worry about it too much. You can see it right there. And what I wanted to do was play up some of the blues and use lots of pattern papers. I'm using some stuff out of my stash. So these are all from completely different lines, but they happen to be in the same box, so they're going to get used. The background paper with the dots is from Chamel True Stories collection, I believe, and the one on the very top there that has that one is a basic gray, and then the other one that's the chevron, that's more of an off-white. I believe that's from the Create Paper Wonder collection. So I'm going to back the whole thing on some craft cardstock, and I just thought that the craft kind of played up with the outdoorsy photos, and I haven't used craft in a long time, so I thought, why not? I just cut down that dot paper, just I think about a 1/4 inch on each side or something, and then I'm going to ink the edges as well. And then I'm playing around with this basic gray paper, which is going to be sort of the main square mat. And I'm just doing everything just ever so slightly off to the right rather than centering it on the page, because the way that I'm going to put my photos down, yeah, it's going to make more sense. So they're going to end up basically in that orientation right there. And I apologize, I'm still working on the lighting, as I mentioned before, so there's a little bit of a glare. Yeah, and that is the Wonder collection. So that paper, you're not going to see it terribly, but it's kind of a landing spot for my photos. And what I end up doing is almost like a grid around these photos to kind of balance them out. So I've gone away and pulled out some Project Life cards, and the one that I particularly wanted to use is that one right there with the geotag, and it says "From Where I Stand," and that's where I'm going to end up putting down all of my journaling. And I thought about doing it like this, and then my title was going to land on that larger 4x6 card, but I'm going to shift it around in a minute. You're going to see. I just felt like that that 3x4 card was too long, and I've just taken everything away and inked the edges, so that's why it's all taken apart again. What was I saying? The 3x4 card, it was too long right underneath the 4x6 photo, so I cut it down so it's not quite as long. And then you can see the basic orientation. So 2 squares and then a long skinny rectangle that everything's going to sit on. And there I have ended up using a 4x6 card with those diagonal stripes, and that's where my title is going to land. So I'm just grabbing thickers, and what I wanted to do was grab out all of the ones that I have that are wood grain, and I end up using basically the only ones that I have all the letters for. So there was no giant master plan of the particular font. It was, okay, these ones I have, well, almost, you'll see, almost all the letters for, because some of these are quite old, and I make do with the rest. So this place here is a hike that my husband and his brother did, and it's called Golden Ears, is what the mountain is called. And so here I'm using a B and cutting off the edges of it to make it into an E. So you can see that E and the E from the actual, the font don't match, but whatever, that's fine. You know, like I'm making do with what I have to fill out the title. And there I used a T and turn it upside down and cut off that one edge to make an L, because I didn't have any left. So, and I'm going to keep my title super duper simple, just Golden Ears. So you can see that I cut down that 3x4 card as I had mentioned, and then I just used a corner rounder to round the bottom edges, and I also inked that one as well. And then I'm going to pull out some wood veneer, and if you've watched any of my recent videos, I'm really trying not to buy a whole ton, and I'm trying to use up my stash. So this is really a stash dive layout. I might try to remember to label it like that. I think I have a playlist for stash dive ones. And I'm really trying to use stuff up because it seems silly to me to just keep buying things when I have so much in my stash. So that today, little sort of paper clippy looking one, I bet you that I'm pretty sure that came in a Scraptastic kit, and I haven't subscribed to them in probably 2 years. So, it's been sitting in my stash for a long time. This has been in my stash for a long time. That Just Plain Wonderful doesn't quite 100% match, but I'm going to use it anyways, just because I wanted to use it. And that's Amy Tangerine, so it's not as old. I think that's only from maybe last summer. And here I'm going through, I think that's a Fancy Pants die cut set that was mostly all labels and stuff, and just pulling out some little pieces to layer in behind these wood veneers, just for a little bit of extra interest, and so that you can read them a little bit better, because they would have been sitting on top of a pattern. And this is from, I think that's the Jen Hadfield fall collection that I'm going through right now, and I'm pulling out some more sort of wood type embellishments to just layer in behind, so you don't see a whole ton of them, but they're just adding a little bit more, playing up a little bit more of that outdoorsy feel. And I'm going to hide that gold on that tag down there at the bottom. I just wanted the wood piece sort of poking out, and that from where I stand is black. But I think with all the wood around it, it doesn't really quite read as black. I think it doesn't really like stand out as, oh, you put black on here, where there's not really black anywhere else on the page. And here I've pulled out this Heidi Swap clip as well. It says the best, or just best. So it says this, and then best, and then right now. So it kind of all works together with my title. And let's see here, going back and forth between the two, between that beautiful and then Just Plain Wonderful, and the beautiful doesn't make it. It just seemed too much up at the top there. I wanted to keep the cluster pretty simple. Let's see. Oh, and just having a thought there about, did I want to maybe bring a round element in, because there's a round element in down at the bottom, but no, I do not. I'm going to just use that Just Plain Wonderful, and that's my round element. What I do need, and what I'm searching for right now, is just one more little tag, because I want to write my date up there. So that little iris container right there that's sitting there, I'm just poking through all of my loose little tags and bits just to find something that will match. And I also pull out that print and cut that sort of looks like a cut piece of wood, like a cross section of a tree, and put that in behind. And again, you don't see a whole ton of it, but again, it's playing up that nature piece. And just adding a little bit, it just needed a little bit more right there to balance it out. So I'm going to layer this the arrow on that little banner there, just to read it a little bit better, because it was going across several different colors and patterns, and so then I found it was making it a little bit more difficult to read. And I did pop it up also, so that it fit over top of that metal clip. And that metal clip is silver, and there's not really the silver anywhere else, but I'm okay with that, because I'm using things up, and the word fit, and so I'm just going to go with it and not be too worried about it. So sticking these elements together, as I said, just using that label in behind so that you can read this better. And I'm putting that little arrow on because I found it and it kind of worked, and it's pointing towards the title. It just finishes out that little cluster. And then right here, I'm just cutting out that label. It wasn't 100% finished, and it says date on it, but you're not going to be able to see it. It's going to be hidden in behind. So I'm getting my photos down and these other elements down, so that I put the clusters together first, so that they're ready to go. Sorry about that, I got cut off. So I realize that I had to stop for a second to go grab a pen in a minute, and I completely forgot to turn the camera back on. So pretty much, I don't do a whole ton after I get my journaling down and my title down. I just add a few enamel dots. So I do have some close-ups coming up for you guys to see, and I apologize that I cut off the very end, but as I said, you really didn't miss very much, just a couple enamel dots, and I'd only done those just because I felt like I needed to bring a little bit of color up into one area, so then I did it in each of the 3 different clusters. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will be back again real soon, and I will actually be also up this week on the Crafty Maven getaway, so check me out over there as well. And here's the close-ups for you guys. See, I just added in a couple, 2 dots in each spot. Talk to you guys again real soon. Thanks for stopping by.